What is up YouTube, and welcome to this Snowpiercer Season 2 Episode 2 video recap, breakdown and review. After last week's mile-a-minute episode, this week we took a sort of step back but had a really big reveal that I was personally not expecting so soon, and a reveal as well that I never expected to ever happen. There will be spoilers in this video, so please do be warned, and drop a like down below with a subscribe with notifications on so you never miss a video. We open with Mel talking about how her dad and her would work on the farm, and she hallucinates seeing a little girl when she's in the brig, and she disappears as soon as the real Alex comes in. Alex wants to know what was in the sample and asks why, as it was just snow. Well, Mel asks if there was ammonium sulfate in it and if it was volcanic, and we would later learn that this is heavily important. Mel informs her that it is snowing outside, which Alex says is impossible because it's far too cold due to the, gigantic ice age. But this has a big impact on the future story of the show and will open up even further with story opportunities around the globe, and I think that's really cool. Mel hints that this is Alex's revolution now, which is indeed very true, as she now has two paths to choose with Wilford and her mother. We cut to Zara and Andre as they talk about having their child and just what his name is, as Bessie comes in, as at the moment she is essentially his security detail, as they go to see Roach, and she gets promoted to train as detective as a woman has been attacked in the tea room. Now we would later learn that this was Light, and Bessie works out that there is a Wilford spy on board, as Light's hand was mutilated to look like Wilford's hand gesture, and we saw towards the end of the episode that this hand gesture was a key point in the supporters of Wilford. She's got PTSD, and the actress who played Bessie really brought some gravitas to this role. Later in the episode, she did believe that, there is a Wilford spy on board, and considering there are fanatics for him, I really do think that this theory is correct. Kevin, the Big Ali's head of hospitality, is interrogated. He's stone-faced until the buffalo wings come out, and boy, they look delicious, may I add. I really miss having buffalo wings at my local pub. I really do look forward to having them when the pubs open once more. He implies how much hospitality is important, which at the surface seems superficial, but by eating, he shows how hungry and desperate the Big Alice are, and Ruth showing a top-tier dinner service shows the power that their train has compared to the Big Alice. Because of this, not due to the reveals he was speaking about, but due to the eating, he's later killed by proxy by Wilford in a harrowing scene which was powerful and uncomfortable. It's a shame, as I really liked Kevin's character, but Sean Bean's Wilford here really does hit different. He also revealed that the scientists are working on synthetic skin, which makes Icy Bob so powerful, but I still prefer the name The Mountain That Freezes, and that's going to be a storyline that's going to be key moving forward as we learn more about the scientific car in the Big Alice. Wilford meets Mel as he smokes an absolute fat one, and he wants to meet Mr. Layton as part of his plan. He wants to do a prisoner swap, which he sends over in a communique as Ruth flaps and gets excited to finally be able to do something that's, hospitality. And the swap is agreed, which seemed far too soon in my opinion, but he clearly wanted to get the lay of the land, or the train, so to speak. Now, just before the swap, Alex is curious at what is in the sample, and Mel plays a blinder, being the sneaky role that Wilford thinks she is. At the swap, he recognises Roche and Ruth, and he is just unreal in his role here as the prisoners swap over. After, Mel warns Layton that Wilford is coming directly for him, and tells Ben and the engineers that it's snowing outside, and there's ammonium sulfate, which means that the CW7 is breaking up. The CW7 was sent into the atmosphere to stop the devastating climate change, but it was far too effective, meaning that the Earth froze, except now it is breaking up, hence the ammonium sulfate, which the CW7 was surrounded in, being in the snow. Meanwhile, Josie is found by Zara after we thought that she was dead post-interrogation, but she's indeed alive and is a Jane Doe, and Zara considers killing her to protect her new life with Layton, except she does not. And this is a very, very menacing Zara here. She wants to live her new life away from the night car. This was a huge shock in an episode already featuring a series-changing twist, reveal, and felt very muted. However, Layton would find her at the end of the episode, which will have a major impact moving forward. To be honest, maybe one of these reveals would have been better saved for a bit later in the season. LJ and her brakeman still exist, as we are reminded that they are still, a thing, as they want to join the crew, the workman crew, the real underbelly of the Snowpiercer, except they're far too much trouble for these drug dealers who've got drugs from Pike now, and they're reduced just to cleaning the septic tank, as LJ's threats of, "I know Mr. Wilford," yes, they fall flat. Mel wants to go on a mission to go out and set off with weather balloons and research, and what this all means is that she can go above the clouds and find out really where the Earth is warming up the most, but she needs supplies and needs to get to the station where the weather balloons can be controlled, as the air is warming up above the clouds. For this, they will need to get Wilford on side and to get his supply car, so they devise a plan to get him to be the centre of attention and present the plan and the idea the Earth is warming up, as he can't say no in front of everyone. They really put him in the centre of the board there. They invited Wilford to a scientific summit, which he accepts with glee, appealing straight to his ego and eagerness to be the cock of the walk. He then goes to Alex, saying she will be protected by Icy Bob and Sykes, and it seems like they're going to be planning something here, and they head into the Snowpiercer for the summit as he's welcomed and cheered, but some of this tale do scowl as you would expect as LJ rushes to him and explains how her parents were killed. Of course, he doesn't really care as he's a D-bag, but I think that'll be picked up later when he wants to take control of the entire both of the train. Now, Mel drops a bombshell that Earth is indeed warming up, and she needs to go to a research station to investigate it for a month. And she doesn't say that at the time, but Wilford says that it does need to be her. Of course, she means, well, she needs to go, as Wilford twists those words, saying she is always the one leaving something behind, hinting at Alex once again. It's in the Rocky Mountains and will really change this show up. In the trailer, we saw the train kind of climb up the mountains, so I think that might have been a real later in the episode, because it will be a month when this whole thing takes place. While the Big Alice changing the status quo is huge, this means the show could even head into the real world and outside, as Mel works out the sweet spot where the Earth is heating up the most. Wilford scientists do back her up, and I really want to see more of them as they're so really weird and kooky. But Wilford has played a blinder here, except Alex still hates Mel once more for leaving her, and she leaves some blood on the door to the Big Alice. This was a strong episode which I adored, and it felt better than the first season. This show goes from strength to strength. This may be the 3 a.m. Diet Coke talking, but I 100% think that Wilford was behind the CW7 than the whole idea that it froze the Earth, possibly on purpose, as he may have known what would happen if it was released. His face when they revealed everything was priceless, and I do think that there is a coincidence between the fact that this was released and he built the only thing that would have saved humanity, and I really, really hope that happens there. I'll really be excited to see that reveal. But that's it for this video, so please do drop a like down below. Please do subscribe with notifications on, and I'll see you soon, and goodbye, as I see you Friday for WandaVision.